Welcome back to another episode of AV Career Masterminds. So if you've listened to the previous two episodes, you probably know where we're going with this one. We're talking about NextLVL Learning, InfoComm, and the three amazing learners that NextLVL is able to sponsor and take with us to InfoComm. So I am so excited to have another one of our learners on today. So Elena, if you could introduce yourself, and I know I'm going to do this the whole time. You have to correct me. If you could introduce yourself, tell us where you are, what you're doing, and kind of how you got into this crazy world of audiovisual.
Yeah, so I'm Elena Jastrzembski. I am the events manager for Fordham, one of our departments in IT. It's called Learning and Event Spaces Management. So we basically take care, our primary thing is taking care of a bunch of the undergrad classrooms at both the Lincoln Center and Rosehill campus, as well as our event spaces on both those campuses. So I stretch between Manhattan and the Bronx.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So actually tomorrow I'll be going over there to support an address that's happening in one of our rooms. I'm based at Lincoln Center, which is in Manhattan. And I fell into it basically because I was a student at Fordham Lincoln Center. I studied poli-sci, but I got placed through work study in this office. So when I was like 18, I started working in just as a student worker, just for like tech calls. Right. By the time because the students really do run the office. Right now we're about to lose like almost 13 like seniors, and it's such a loss because not only are they like great students and workers, but like I've known them since I was a senior at Fordham.
Right.
So they pretty much run the office. So when I was a senior, kind of running the office, and then I graduated, and then about 6 months after, I reached out to my previous boss, who was Ryan Chai. He's the assistant director. And I was like, hey, LOL, like literally on LinkedIn, LOL, looking for a job. And he was like, we have a position that opened up. Anon, our CIO, basically created this position to help manage all the events that we could take care of. And it's something from like conferences that could be internal or external, or like board meetings. And he created a position basically to help coordinate all of that. And they're like, there's this opening. And I applied, and then I got it.
Amazing. So that part of your story I did not know. So before we kind of get into that, let's tell the listeners and anybody that's watching what Fordham is, because I had never heard of Fordham previously. So talk about the university, the school, kind of what it is, because I don't know if people really realize when they hear of New York. I don't think this is going to be a school that comes right to mind for them.
Honestly, it didn't for me either. I remember when I was applying to colleges, applying to schools really freaked me out, because it was like I felt like I was making such a huge decision that was going to impact the rest of my life. And my mom basically dragged me to Fordham because when I was younger, I had gone to a Catholic school, and I didn't want to go to a Catholic school. But Fordham is the Jesuit. Our tagline is, we're the Jesuit University of New York.
Okay.
And I think people get very confused because they don't know anything about the Jesuit order or what that means. But basically, it's just a style of learning and teaching. Mm-hmm. And then their whole thing is about cura personalis. And that means basically you take care of the whole person. So not only does that like reflect in the core curriculum, but Fordham's really into service.
Okay.
So just taking care of each other. I felt very supported by all my professors and my advisors there. They really try to set you up and make sure you have all the resources. So that's really taking care of the whole person and looking out for each other. That's the whole Fordham motto. And I think that's also why a lot of, like, I'm a former student worker, but half of our office actually was formerly students at.
So, and that's amazing, because I know that in the industry that I work in, I've worked with lots of higher ed institutions and lots of tech managers. And so I go around to all of them, big, small, and everything in between. And that is one thing I will say I don't see a lot, is the fact that the university is looking at you as an entire person. You know, their main focus is, this is your degree path. This is what we want you to do. We're going to take you through this and then get you to graduate, those type of things. So that's amazing to hear, and that Fordham does it. And the fact that most of the people that work there have graduated, because it sounds like a family environment that you love and want to stay in.
Definitely. And like my previous boss, Francis Kaitai, he was super supportive. He was also a former student. He had worked there for a very long time. And now my new boss, Nick Terrazzulli, was also a Fordham student. He's worked at Fordham for many years and super, super supportive.
So talk to us a little bit about, you said poli-sci. So complete, right, change. And being a poli-sci major, right? Applying because you needed a job, like most of us in our college career. I worked two jobs when I did live at home when I went to college, and I was able to do it, but I worked two jobs, none of it on campus, but still I needed a job and I worked. So what was your thought coming in when they said events or audiovisual? Like, this is a position that we can throw you in. What did you think as that student worker originally?
Well, because especially at Lincoln Center, I know those rooms like the back of my hand. I know the rooms that have certain quirks. And I know even like, so Lincoln Center has this really fun thing with tunnels. 'Cause basically, if you're on our main Lincoln Center campus, I know how to get to rooms faster than some other people do because I've just worked there for so long. So it wasn't, for me, sometimes maybe the technical aspects, I still definitely have a lot to learn there. Um, like I'm starting the extra training. I think I just finished the networking. There's like 7 more sections left. So that sometimes for me is a little intimidating. But when it comes to actually event management, even though I was a poli sci major, when you're doing those courses, you're still learning how to work with people and communicate and organize and research, and that all falls into what I do now. So that so much wasn't intimidating. The whole role. It's just more like, because I do want to help out more on the technical side, and that's where I just need to gain some more knowledge.
So you saw what you were learning in your major, and you, even though it wasn't directly related, you picked pieces of what you were learning and you were able to apply it to the events portion and understanding that area of AV, right? And IT, but just not the technology, so to speak, when you started.
Yeah, most of the job is coordinating with people. So it's a lot of emails or phone calls or Zoom calls because you're just trying to make sure that they have everything that they need for their event to be successful. And then I'm also usually then the point person day of to make sure that they are all set up. So I am definitely learning as I have worked. I think I started full time November 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So just by being there and setting up microphones, or even like in the one of our rooms right now, we set up a whole other mic kit, so knowing how that works and making sure it's connected to the system. And
so sounds like lots of hands-on, which is amazing, which is really what the audiovisual industry is, right? You can't read it in a book and memorize it and go, okay, now I'm going to be able to do it, because it's all different. Every aspect of it is different. So talk to me about how you found out about Next Level Learning and the idea that we wanted to bring young adults and students, as I refer to them, because in my mind, we're all still students in the AV industry because it's constantly changing and we're constantly learning. But that we were bringing, and it's going to sponsor some students to come to InfoComm, and you said, hey, that sounds interested. So when did you first hear about that?
so I went to the women's conference that was held at Pace, and I remember when Georgia was speaking, because I got so excited. Cause I'm like, that's Georgia is me, but she's just me at Pace. Like we do the same, a very, very similar position. So I got really excited. So afterwards I went up to her, and I had met George previously. I went to, I think, an ETC conference at Pace,
Okay.
maybe
Yep.
within like the first year I started at Fordham. And he came up and he mentioned it. And he's like, you should, apply or let us know. And I was like, okay, yeah, totally. And I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, yeah, maybe. And then when you guys offered, I was so excited. But that's basically how that came to fruition. And I've heard lots of stories from InfoComm's past, because my different colleagues of mine have gone like years ago, whether it was in Vegas or
Yep.
Houston, maybe, I think. But
They used to do Anaheim, Vegas, Orlando. Now we go back and forth between Vegas and InfoComm. So I think that's amazing. as a female in the AV industry, I love that you were able to saw someone on a panel, because I remember the panel that Georgia was on, saw someone on a panel that was you in a way, right?
Yeah.
Young, a female at another university in a similar position. So the fact that you were that was relatable to you, I think is amazing. And that's what we want to be able to help people with. And two, what I also think is great is that you weren't fearful or intimidated at it seems in any way to go up to her and introduce yourself and start talking and saying, hey, I think we need to connect.
Yeah, could not even stop myself from not saying something to her.
Good. And that's the whole thing. So when we talk about, and if people have talked to you about InfoComm, and when I chatted with Georgia the other day, that is the one thing that we want to help you guys coming into this and taking is the networking aspect of it. So many of us probably, like you've heard of, gone to InfoComm and just did the show, didn't understand the networking portion of it. So the networking aspect, which is so huge in the industry, to be able to meet people and talk to people, where do you feel that is on a level of intimidation, let's say? Does it seem intimidating? Does it not? Are you just like, I'm going to go for it?
For me, it really depends. I do sometimes, I suffer from anxiety, so sometimes it can be very like overwhelming, even though I know that everything is fine and there's nothing going on.
Right.
But so for me, it kind of almost like depends, like just where I'm at. Most of the time I can do it, but there's sometimes, especially if I'm in a new space and there's a lot going on, it might kind of be overwhelming, but usually I can get the job done. I can go up to somebody and ask and talk.
I've been in the industry almost 20 years. I walk into InfoComm every year and it's still intimidating for me because there's always something new. It always seems like there's more people. Someone's booth is bigger than the other. So don't worry, we're all in the same boat with you. So what is one of the things that, and you said you're doing Extron training, which is amazing. So what is one of the other things about going to InfoComm and everything that is there that they offer? What are some of the things you're excited to see or learn?
I don't want to get so stuck in the university mindset because I don't know where I want to maybe one day go after Fordham if I do leave, but I do want to take stuff back to Fordham. Just in terms, I was looking even at some of the classes that they have or events, and there's lots on, working with what you have, or like, because right now this summer, I think we're looking to change some classrooms. I know we're looking at a lot of our event spaces, so I just want to really pull from those kind of events and just bring it back. Because I did the same thing for like AJCU, and there was things I like pulled away from there, even for myself and the way that I go about like getting information for events. So
have you had a chance to peruse through the InfoComm website to see the classes and the different things? Okay, good. So what about some of the things have you had a chance to look at some of the things that are right there available on the show floor? So like AVIXA does their Exchange Live, or the innovation stage where they'll have panels of speakers. Did you have a chance to see what some of those sessions are?
I didn't look at those, and I was trying to look at the booths the other day, and the map I thought was I didn't like the way the map was set up, and I was like, okay, I'll look at this later. But so I haven't checked those out yet, but I mostly was looking at because the way that they had the schedule for like the classes, if you want, like, it's called learning spaces. So I was like, all right, that's perfect. That's my department's wheelhouse right there.
It is. And so one of the things that you'll see, and I know we all with have not had a chance to chat with everyone, but by the time this airs and you get to InfoComm, you have a backbone of us with NextLVL that we are definitely going to help try and not make it as overwhelming, kind of steer you in the direction of what you're looking for and what are the right places to look at and go so that it's not so overwhelming. So one of the things that happens at InfoComm are, as we refer to them, everybody calls them a party, but they are large networking events. So I'm sure you've probably seen in your email that a couple things have popped through that you've been registered for an event. I've taken that on, and I said the guys are probably wondering what's going on. But in understanding that there are some of these after-hour events that happen when the show floor closes, what's your thought process? Is that something that is interesting, or are you like, I think I'm probably not going to go because I might be exhausted, or where's your kind of mindset about those?
No, I think I'm definitely down to like meet people, and especially in that kind of setting, because it's not like as, I don't know if serious is the right word, but it's just like it's just an opportunity just to chat with people. It doesn't even have to be that deeply, but I just kind of want to, I just want to see other people on AV and learn what they do and maybe connect with some people. Because also, like, we are, from what I've learned from the previous conferences I've been to, especially being in higher ed, the best resource that you have is each other.
Yes.
There's been times where even I had emailed people, basically like our counterpart at Yale, being like just asking for advice on something, and somebody else got back to me. So I just want to make connections like that.
So the great thing is, one of the other organizations, as you mentioned, talking to your peers that are like you at other universities, HETMA, which is the Higher Education Technology Managers Alliance, will have a booth there. Those are all tech managers, as we call them, from universities across the country. So they're going to be noticeable. They're going to have a little sash or something on. But so those will definitely, as a group of your peers, that will be able to connect with. So understanding kind of that the show is very massive, all the networking portion of it. Is there anything in your mind that you're going to say to the set next level or myself, hey, Jen, I'm really nervous potentially about. Is there anything that comes to mind?
No. No.
That's good, right? Because we want to make sure that you guys are comfortable and not fearful. And then, as I tell everybody, even though we look at InfoComm show as 3 days, it's 72 hours. A friend of mine, Chris Netto, says that all of the time. It's 72 hours. Soak in as much as you can and learn within those 72 hours. So, have you had a chance to talk with either Georgia or Brandon that is going, which we haven't interviewed him yet? Have you guys been able to connect and say, okay, as a threesome, what are we planning on doing? Have you said things to either of them that you're like, hey, I don't want the guys at NextLVL to know yet?
No, but it's funny because I should have thought to also ask Brandon for his number, but I had messaged Georgia on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Because that's the one thing I forgot. I think I gave her my information at the women's conference, but I forgot to grab hers. So I messaged her yesterday, and we were actually talking about getting coffee. But I should probably I'm gonna also reach out to Bradford from in the chat.
Yeah. So you say LinkedIn, which is so great to hear, because that is a big portion of what us in the audiovisual community and the IT community, we use LinkedIn all the time. So you have a LinkedIn profile set up?
I think like since September 2022, because it was right where I was like post grad, a couple months out, and I was like, okay, time to start looking for a job. And I think I probably previously had an account, so it was basically like restarting it, and then that's
good.
Reach out to my boss and blah blah blah. That's yeah.
Amazing. So that's great. That's amazing that you're doing all of that. Those are all the right things, right? That we tell you as you're new in the industry and wanting to connect, is make sure we all are on LinkedIn. Everybody uses LinkedIn. That's kind of where you connect with people right there. Is let's scan their QR code to connect with them on LinkedIn. So what else is exciting to you? So you said you want to be able to learn because you're not sure, everybody's career changes, right? You could stay at Fordham forever. You might not. Like, nobody knows where career paths and life's paths take us. But let's just say if you didn't, for whatever reason, were continuing to work at Fordham, where would be that potential next spot in the audiovisual IT industry that you'd love to tackle?
I like the sweet spot where I'm at right now in between, like basically coordinating the events and supporting them. That for me is like my bread and butter. I actually
Mm-hmm.
really, really enjoy that. And it's funny because even in high school, like I did the lights for like the theater. Like I didn't need to be on the stage. I don't really want to be on the stage, but I will help coordinate or do anything like that. So I would want to do something similar, and it could be potentially anywhere else. I have some friends I've made that work like even within like the sports industry,
Mm-hmm.
which is very different. But I do like that aspect and of being that in between the AV and like coordinating with the people, and like and also it really helps to have a background on it in AV because especially if there's something that goes wrong, you can actually understand what's happening or provide a different solution. Because even when you have everything okay, something will go wrong. There's always a potential, and it probably will. So,
You are absolutely right. And it is technology, and technology doesn't decide to work for whatever reason. So it definitely is like that. So for you at Fordham, being a female working within the event space and audiovisual, how many other females at the university, either in your department or in similar aspects within audiovisual, are female?
I am in my department full time. I am the youngest. I'm also the only girl. Student staff wise, we actually have a lot of female students, many who are actually graduating this year. Um, And then if I'm thinking through some of the other AV teams, there are. I'm not sure if the law school has any full time female staff, and Gabelli IT. I think that's a business school at Fordham. Um, I think they might have one or two, but it might just be one. So we're not that not that many of us, and it's funny too because one of my favorite stories to tell is there's times where I'll walk into a classroom and I'll bring a new student worker with me, and it'll be
Mm-hmm.
a guy, and we'll walk in and I'm leading just like he's new, so I'm going to show him like how to like get some hands-on experience on the tech call, and whoever is requesting will turn to him for the answers, even though like I'll say like I understand because I still look young, sure, but I'll like say I'm so and so, this is my student so so, we're just here to do whatever, and they'll continually turn to him for answers, and I have to be like he doesn't know anything right now, not yet.
So how and just to kind of talk through that a little bit, because I know some people, there's all kinds of thoughts and feelings, but how do you feel with that, and how, other than saying, oh, he's the new student worker, like what is your feeling on that immediate, oh, he's the one coming to fix it, not me?
Sometimes it kind of sucks because it's just like I want to be recognized as being very capable, and I want to be a part of it, and I'm here to help, and like I do know my stuff, like especially like
Right.
in if something's going wrong in certain rooms, like I'm like okay, I know that this room's having this issue right now. I have all the keys on me, I carry them around all day. um, but at the same time I think it's just an opportunity to show that who you think is supposed to be in this job maybe isn't necessarily who you think or what they look like. And
Right.
for me too, like I'm also queer. So and I dress very different sometimes, or I dye my hair crazy colors, and I have a lot of tattoos. So
Yeah.
I try to make it like I can still be professional and do this job really, really well, even though I look like this, basically.
Well, and that's the whole. I mean, I have tattoos myself, and I have, purple highlights
Yeah.
in my hair. So to be able to have a certain look of what everybody expects people to look like, I think is definitely where we in the industry are trying to make those changes. And the fact that you are learning, you are doing the necessary things to understand your job, what's going on, and you, like you said, you probably know some of these classrooms better because you've been the student in the classroom, seen what's going on, watched the involvement, and been able to fix it. That outside appearance shouldn't matter. It's all what you can do, your knowledge base. So do you ever find that it really inhibits trying to fix what you're trying to do in a space, or can you just go, here to do a job and I'm going to get it done.
For the most part, it doesn't. It's more just like we take a second and I go, oh, I'm so and so, and actually I can help you with that. And then I show them I can help you. When I was a student worker, though, that was a little bit different. Even though, like, I remember being a senior, being like really familiar with the spaces, and there's times where like maybe a professor did not really want to hear what I had to say about the issue, and I had to call a completely different manager in for him to just say the same thing that I just told the professor. So it hasn't happened in a while, but when it's something, if at those moments it's like they wouldn't listen to me at all. So it did stop me from helping them, and their class was stalled for probably like 20 more minutes than it needs to be.
Well, we are trying to make those changes here in the industry for all women, right? And that is one thing that we love the fact that we've got two of our three learners that we are sponsoring are female. And so that is just a change. And the fact that you are willing to say this was the issue and I can help you and this is who I am, but I know my stuff. Kudos to you for that, because people don't want to say that, because that especially there's that intimidation factor, right? Because you get the imposter syndrome, as we talk about, where you start to feel like you shouldn't be there even though you know more than the next person. But this community of AV, when you get to Orlando and we get you to InfoComm and we get you through those doors, everyone is so welcoming. Everybody wants to help. People are gonna know who you guys are, because you'll have a little jacket of some sorts where we're gonna have you labeled as our next level learner or something. We're working on through that, but we want everybody to not bombard you, but stop and talk to you and introduce yourself, because we want InfoComm and all of the attendees to know how amazing you all are that are coming and what you're doing to help change the industry and grow the industry, because you are that youthful voice that we need here in the industry. So before we close here, is there anything else that, with this experience coming up, because we're only a couple weeks away, that you want people to be able to know if they see you on the show floor and talk to you? Like, what is something that you either want to learn from someone, or you want to know if somebody's going to come up and go, oh my gosh, I heard you on Jen's podcast, or we know you're the learner. Like, what is that one thing to help you feel comfortable and approachable and you want to learn?
In terms of like approachability, I don't know, just come say hi. Like that's totally cool. Like that doesn't bother me. I love to chit chat. We can just talk. And then just in terms of learning, I just want to make connections with other people and learn what you know, and I'll share what I know, and then we could see if in the future if anybody needs help in certain areas or certain questions. Like I love that, like just having those connections. So that's pretty much it.
Well, we are so excited that we are able to sponsor and bring you there. This is, all of us at Next Level Learning on the board are so thrilled, and we are ecstatic. I feel like, I've got, I am a mom, so I'm like, these are my little kiddos that I get to bring with and watch them grow and blossom into amazing things at InfoComm. But where can our listeners and anybody that's watching from now until the show, where can they find you? Are you on social? What's your contact? What's the best thing?
Yeah, really the only place that you can find me for work is on LinkedIn. So if you take my long name here, if you look that up, I'm probably the only one. I think one time I Googled it, and I am the only Elena Jastrzembski in the United States, probably. So very easy to find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining today. And we are so excited to bring you to Orlando with the rest of the gang. We will ensure this is a amazing overwhelming and exhausting experience for you that you are going to want to come back to every year after. And guys, this just goes to show, as I always say, we are all more than words, and we have an amazing pool of young adults that are out there that want to be in this industry. And we also have an amazing pool of young females that want to be in this industry. So thank you again for joining. And thank you all. And we will see you in Orlando in a couple weeks. And make sure to listen to all of my friends on AVNation,
the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.